my name is Russell Scott from scottcarvings.com. Today I am going to show you how to carve the female face, realistic female face. This is a particular sample that I've carved. Here's an earlier version. I thought at this point, she probably had too much forehead, but what we're going to do is at least get you started with the basics. But when you get near the end, that's when you start to get into a little bit of the picking. And we'll be doing a lot of picking. Here's one I thought I'd take a chance and put a nice smile on her. I probably will have a video on that. And here's one I thought I'd like to experiment with the ears. I hope they come out all right. The thing that I have discovered is that the camera certainly reveals more mistakes than the eye, so just a little pigtail, ponytail. And I hope things will work out with our, not to have too many shadows here. Okay, for this video demonstration I got a larger piece. This is probably an inch larger for the sake of it being easier for you to see, so let's hope that that it's not going to be more difficult. Okay, what I did was, I'll show you the pattern that I came up with. Here's the pattern. And what I did was have a square piece of wood. It's good to start with. I think it's going to be a little wider, so I thought, well, she's going to have a lot more hair, but the head is going to be, of course, like almost like this. And then the hair. Now I've got, I print out a model here. There's a lot of models you can find on the internet. This particular one here. If you're interested, again, connect to www.scottcarvings.com, and there's my email address, and I'll show you where I got that and where you can get models like that, 3D models. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to get started right away. I'm going to hopefully do this in steps or easy steps or something like that. I'm going to start with the center line. This is where the nose is going to be. And we're not going to do too much of the bust area, but we are going to go around the neck. Going to get around the neck, the chin, maybe a little bit of the upper chest area. But the main focus is, excuse me, around the face. Okay, the first thing that I want to do after putting the center line is I want to cut out about a 90-degree angle. Now I think I'm being a little conservative here. I'm pretty sure it's not 90 degrees. But for the sake of the hair, let's go less than 90 degrees. Would that be, see if it's not something like that. We can always, again, as you know, wood, we can always take more off later on. Get that out of the way. Let's just start carving the basics of the woman's head. This is probably going to be the hardest, most So far, it's a pretty decent piece of wood. Of course, you don't know how good the wood is until you start chomping into it. Now, you can use a knife or chisel. I like using a chisel for taking more off. Of course, I suppose I'm not supposed to drop names, but there's a specific wood carver that I took a class in, and he likes the metal. More metal, the better, especially when you're getting started like this. And bought tools, big tools, and found out that yeah, I do like that. I do like. Now this is going to be a fast-paced video. There's no doubt about that, because I certainly want to get everything in a reasonable amount of time and space here. And the magic of videos is you can always pause it at any time. So you can pause. If I am cutting this out a lot faster than you are, well, you can always push pause and cut it out. I have a feeling this is going to go the wrong way. That's going to go the wrong way. I'm going to chip off more. And when I use the chisel, you'll notice I'm using my wrist and not just pulling it. One of the things that I do mention is I try to concentrate on what I'm carving. I'm gonna, like, if I'm gonna put my chisel in, I just want to carve this much. It's not a, and you look at that and you say, well, that's what you want. But sometimes people don't concentrate on how much they really want to take off at each scoop. They just simply put the tool in the wood and they just push hard and see what happens, kind of a thing. And that's usually where you get your mishaps. That's when you start putting red paint on your carving, when you don't want red paint to be put on your carving. Okay, we want something like that to get started. We're just getting started here. And I already made a lot of chips. Okay, now that I knocked some stuff over here, I'm gonna make my first measurement. And I'd like to take a my dial, no, it's a dial calipers with calipers. And what I want to do is I want to cut the face out. And I always like to be, should we say, what's the right word? Conservative, liberal? Have more wood left over than when I get started. Now this is like the face area. I'm going to tell you something right now. This particular carving is going to have this kind of a hair. I'm going to put that hair in there. And if you notice that there's still a lot of face showing before you have to worry about having to play with the ear. And the ear starts about the middle of the skull. From here to here should be the same. Now we're talking about the skull. So from here to here to here to here. So we can have a lot of hair, or the hair pulled back pretty far before we have to worry about the ear. And so therefore, if it's pulled back, therefore we have a lot of face to work with. So I am going to measure the width of the face. I just did. Now I have it a little wider, see? I like to have it a little wider for trimming. Yeah, well, let's put that in. I'm gonna go at this angle here. Let me see, so I can make sure I have it right. This is not the time to have things go haywire. I'm just going to go about this far up, down. Get that center line back in there. This is a chance to take a look. Do I have that right? it could stand a little more this way. Again, I can always trim. Sometimes I do get a little paranoid. Oh, that isn't going to raise. And then while I'm at it, I want to add, I try to do two birds with one stone here. And I know we're trying to block this, we're just blocking this out, and I just want to add this part here. So it's going to come down a little bit. We're just going to start the chin a little bit. The jawline a little bit. Not chin, I'm sorry. And a lot more is going to get cut off from there. Now let's go on this side. Like I said, we're just blocking this out. This is just getting blocked out. And I have to, the ear would be about here. See if that works according to the shadow that I got here. But then there's going to be some hair back, so I'm going to move it forward a little bit. The nose is going to be trimmed a little bit, so it's going to still eat about halfway of the piece of wood here. By the way, this particular piece of wood, if you were interested, it doesn't matter. Like I said, any square piece of wood is good. I mean, I got 2.5 here. You really, especially when you get started, I mean, 2.5 is probably good, but you don't want to be too big when you're doing this for the first time. You know, you want to be able to handle it. Now this hair is going to kind of come back a little bit. And this is going to be the neck area here. So what we're going to do, same thing here. Oops. And this is all kind of open for now. I mean, it's going to be obvious later on we're going to be taking that off. You probably could take that off just about any time. So like busy work or something. If you're trying to catch up with me, or I need to catch up with you, you can do that. That's good busy work. So what's going to happen is that you're going to go straight down this way, and so therefore you're going to create a sort of a reverse, that the corner is going to be down. It's going to be like a valley instead of the corner being up like this, it's going to be down like that, because all we're doing is we're just blocking. And we could do it while we're at it. We'll just take a hunk off like that. And then you could also take that off on the saw. I just thought I'd give it a good two-dimensional look there. Okay, let's glove on. Let's start whack away again. I like to use the chisel. And let's see if I can do this without breaking things. I like to use the tip as to create the stop cut. Oops, I'm sorry. And again, like I said, I like to flip things over like that and use the natural curve, the way my hand carves, and let the wood go according to that. Now this is kind of a little unnatural the way I'm carving this, because I'm trying to keep it in the camera and keep it tilted correctly. I mean, I'd be doing this on my lap here and it'd be a lot more easier. Well, this is kind of a dry piece of wood. I've been having dry wood lately. Oh boy. I mean, dry wood is a lot easier to carve, but sometimes it's like carving, a sponge. Flip. And again, this really does feel unnatural for me, but I want to show you. And again, we are going to clean it up a lot better once we get into doing detail. Right now I just want to remove a lot of lumber here. And boy, that is really This is like carving a sponge. It's easier than carving walnut, but on the other hand, so don't mind that. I'll be cleaning that up later. I'll be cleaning this all up. I'm just trying to move some wood around here. I suppose while we're at it, we'll do this. Or can I? Maybe I'll do that. Well, I could probably do this on my own time here. Yeah, I'll do that on my own time. There, just getting it started. Okay, most of the wood is, huge chunk of the wood is gone. So I'm going to take, let's just take the knife and clean it up a little bit. I want to clean this up a little bit here. And again, we are just getting started. See the knife just clean that up. There you go. See the knife just clean that up. Either that, maybe my chisel does need a little sharpening. It could be. My knife is very sharp. See how sharp is it? Yeah. Yeah, there we go. See, that's a lot better. It's not good to do videos with a dull knife, but I'm gonna take a little bit. I'm gonna take one good scoop off here just to get. There we go. Just to get things going here. Now I don't want to go too deep because what's going to happen is the hair is going to come down here. So just enough just to take the corner off. Okay, where are we next? I'm still in the process of cleaning this side. Okay, now I'm going to do a very quick clean on the neck for right now. Now the thing you'll notice about the neck, some people have a lot of trouble with, is that you have the chin, the chin comes in, and then the neck goes in this angle, and then the chest goes in this angle. So it's almost like a, what would that be, a wacky 7 or funny S? So this is the deepest part right here. So I just want to clean it up a little bit to get it started. Don't straighten it out. Remember, this is the highest part right here, and down there's the lowest part. And as time goes on, we are going to clean and round this. But for now, I just wanted to give it a first run there. I always think wood carving is like tumbling rocks. You know, when you're doing it in a rock tumbler, it just kind of tumbles around like this, and you just keep going in all kinds of different directions. Now I want to get this. I want to get the head cleaned a little bit because we're going to put the face in. Okay, let's do our measurements. Or first thing before I put my measurements in is, let's get back to what I was just talking about. I just want to clean up this chin a little bit because we're going to use the chin as part of the measurement. And I don't want to carve the face and then we start cleaning up the chin and then all of a sudden the face is starting to look kind of weird. So we just want to if you can take the saw marks off. There you go, it's a better angle. At least take the saw marks off, maybe just a little bit of turn here. You can get a chisel in if you want. I probably could, I'm just trying to, like I said, kind of doing this a little more faster for the sake of fitting into a decent video. Decent length video. Okay, so we clean that off a little bit. The hair is kind of subjective for now. So after you made all your measurements, as far as this is the width, this is the height because of the cutout. According to the cutout does match this particular pattern. The thing that's different between my pattern is my pattern doesn't have hair, whereas my other carvings do have hair. And so I'm going to have put that into consideration. But the hair is not that much unless you want the hair to be more puffy out or whatever. So it's just for the sake of this being hair. This will be the top of the skull. Like our model has no hair. And there's the bottom of the chin. And right in the dead center, you can measure it if you want, is the eye line. Am I right? And of course we can play with things a little bit with the hair. Wakey. Let me look at it. Now, when it comes to realism, the difference between realism and caricature, my caricatures I always say from the nose, or from the hairline to do the nose, from the eye line to the chin would be about half. We probably can do just a little less than half for two reasons. One of the things is that characters, it's okay to have large nose, but this thing here, what really is happening is from the eye line to the tip of the nose is the same as the tip of the nose to the bottom of the lip, and then from the bottom of the lip down, basically. But I want to have it about, let's say about 40%, because we're gonna be trimming that nose quite a bit. Unless you're excellent with a knife, you do one cut and it is done, then you want to go 30%, three sections. Okay, I do like to start with, like my other videos, I like to start using a knife to lay in the head. So we're going to make a triangular shape there for the nose. Now the nose is going to be smaller. This is different from a Santa nose. I mean, Santa nose, you definitely wanted it as wide as possible, but we want it as wide as possible because we will be doing some trimming later. And then we want to put the eye line in, which is like we're like creating a sort of like a jack-o'-lantern kind of thing. First thing. Now a lot of this is going to go away and we're going to start all over again, but I just wanted to show you this is what we're aiming for. Now you want to take your knife straight down and do a stop cut straight down. That is one dry piece of wood. What's coming out so far? Now what I want to do, you take a look at the profile. From about 2/3 up, I want to carve down like this. Now that's one thing we're going to be looking out for a little more, is that the top of the lip, we'll talk about it later, but I want you to think about it now. is that the top of the lip is higher than the bottom of the lip, and it's almost like it comes down like a straight line like this, sort of. Sort of. Then what we want to do is about halfway up the nose, we want to do a nice, not like my Santas. My Santas, I say a 30-degree angle, straight. But we want to do a scoop. Now the women's, or actually the young women and girls have sort of a scoop. Number one, their nose scoops more, and then number two, they have a larger forehead. Let's see, where is this one here? This is kind of a good example of a, well, the forehead might be a little too large, but it is larger than a man's. I mean, has a little more. I know what you're thinking. They have more brain capacity, therefore they're smarter than men. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Anyways, where was I? Okay, I'm going to take my pencil and take my mechanical pencil this time. Get the lines back in. Even down here. I'm going to take my knife away from the nose, deep where the eye is, but you bring it up towards the cheek, you're coming up. So in other words, you're deep down where the eye socket is, or where the eyeball is going to be, but you want to bring this up so you don't cut into the cheek. Same with over here. Like I said, I mean, I'm right-handed. I mean, my tendency is to carve like this. That's what I mentioned before, and that's what I'll probably mention later too. But I'm going to be very careful that I turn that knife away from the nose. Now it's going to be natural when I come over here. I'm going to do the same thing. Carve deep and then bring it up, shallow. That's all, that's natural. So, but here I have to be conscious, or you can, again, like I said before, you can flip it over. For some reason, that nose is the only time I really don't flip it over. I don't know why. See, I'm going to flip this over this way. Natural. This way. Towards the point is going towards the eye. And you're going to go deep, and you're going to bring this shallow. Almost like when you pushed it deep and you're not going to really cut up that much. And what happens is that if you're not careful, you're going to put a good ding right in there. And then you're going to have to keep cutting and cutting, and then she's going to have that surprise look. And this cut here, again, we're cutting towards the eyeball. It's sort of a medium cut, not too deep, not too shallow. Same with over here. Now we're going to start shallow and we're going to go deep. And again here is sort of a medium cut. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this up by chips. Now remember, we cut this way and we cut down this way. Now we're going to go from here to here, and we are going to just continue. We're going to go very shallow here, a little deep here, and then shallow up here, and hopefully that chip will pop out. Now if it doesn't pop out, you can just work with it very carefully. And the other thing is, you don't have to worry about it being too deep like this right away. You can work with it. In other words, you don't have the strength to go deep enough, and you have to do several swipes. That's fine too, because we're just getting started here. We're trying to figure out where the nose and the eye socket along with the cheek is falling into place right now. Okay, now we're going to take our knife and we're going to go parallel with the eye line. There's the eye line, and so we're going to go parallel, and we're going to go down towards the eye line, meeting this cut down here. And it's going to be about the middle of the nose. And there we are. And yeah, look, I got a chip there that ain't gonna come out. You get out of there. Let's do the other side from here to here, in towards the nose, completing the chip. Come on out. Parallel, here to here. Oh, I should have got my finger out of the way. There we go. Again, I mean, I have confidence, famous last words, that I know where that knife is going. I'm just not putting the knife into the wood and just cutting hard and then hopefully it'll come out. I mean, I know where it's going to end. Just want to clean that up, and generally I don't clean it up right now. I just keep going, but I wanted to. And you could see, I think I did pretty good and not putting too much of a ding right there. I'm just cleaning. I'm not really shaping. No, maybe I was shaping, but I wanted to clean. All right. Okay, we are well on our way. Now I want to begin to shape. No, I want to shape the eyes. I still want to shape the face a little more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of cuts around the eyes just to get started a little bit. And then we're going to get into the cheek. And then we're going to get to the mouth and the cheek. You can see we're still a little too wide, which is fine for now. Put it in such a way that you can keep seeing it well. Oh well. Anyways, so what I want to do now is I want to get this into a more a 75 degree, a more 45 degree angle like this. Here's the top, here's the side, so somewhere in between. I'm going to cut straight down on the eyeland like that. Clean it just a little bit. Same on this side. Finger out of the way. 45 degree angle-ish. Okay, now I want to make a cut this way. Now this is going to be kind of interesting. We're going to cut this way, in which this part is going to be shallow, and this is going to be, I'm going to cut like this towards the eye. And like I said, a lot of this, once we start chiseling, we just want to get it started like this. Finger out of the way again. I mean, I'm confident, but I just don't want you to think, oh yeah, well he's got his finger in the way, why can't I? Okay, I'm spending too much time doing this little cleaning when I just want to get going. Okay, then I want to reevaluate. I still have this set to the sides of the head. I mean, I mean, we're still okay. We're still good. Okay, now what I want to do is, like what we did before, we want to get this to almost a 90-degree angle. So in other words, we're going to, first of all, we're going to cut a little bit off here before I prepare it. Start to make the shapes. A little bit. And now I want to I want to make this come down, almost touching the line. Hope I got this. This is a key point. Well, everything I do here is important, I suppose, but this is a key point we want to do. It's a scoop. Yeah, we still got some cutting around the cheek and everything, but now to get started, we want to work around the nose. Let me get the I could still use this knife here. Now the width of the nose. Let's get the width of the nose. Oops, sorry. And again, I'm still going to be a little more, I'm going to get a little more wood than I should for right now. Was this carving through paranoia or something? I don't know. It was, can you see? I'm trying to see how I can do this where I can. Go over here. And take a little chip out. Yeah, we want to have the nose starting to look a little ready to go before we do the mouth. Because the mouth includes the cheek. And that's the thing that's kind of different about doing something like this instead of a Santa, is that everything just relies on the nose and relies on just about everything else. Now again, I want to make that scoop oops, be careful, I don't want to go too far down. The reason why we don't want to go too far down is because we want to take the tip off like this. Here, let me show you first before you do this. You see we're making this come at an angle. The tip of the nose come at an angle. This is another reason why we wanted to have a little more wood. It does get a tendency that especially if you slip and, oh, I cut too much of that, and then you gotta fix it and straighten it, and all of a sudden the nose is way up by the eyes. And you're beginning to see how it gives the impression, even though the nose does stop right here, it does give the impression that the nose is getting smaller. So we're leaving that, and I want to put about a 20-degree angle this way. About a 20-degree-ish angle this way. Now this, hopefully this will, I think this will stay. I mean, I don't think this will go away. But I want at least to get this in so we can figure out where everything's going to be. Now the smile, I'm going to create the smile line. Now we're going to be a little careful about the smile line. The difference between the woman and the man is you can take your knife and you can dig deep in there, especially Santa's. But what we're going to do here, this is going to be one of the first rounds of, shall we say, picking at it, is that I'm going to take a very small number 9. And I'm going to have a small number 7 handy. Let's see if I can do this without my visor. Now I want to start carving, I want to take that out. Now be careful the direction of the grain of the wood. You certainly don't want to whack off more than you want. But we're just getting this in right now. And what we're doing is we're forming the cone of the mouth. I got my detail knife ready to start. And careful about ripping, especially at this time. Don't rip. In other words, if it's dangling, if the little bit of wood is dangling on, don't just grab a hold and pull. Make sure you cut where it's holding on to. See how that is right there? That just, I want to make sure I cut that out of there, not pull that out of there. And again, we'll be straightening out later.